Welcome to Hope for the Caregiver here on American Family Radio. So glad that you're with us. I am Peter Rosenberger, and this is the program for you as a family caregiver. For those of you who are taking care of an aging parent, a special needs child, someone with a disability, somebody with an addiction, somebody with mental illness, whatever the impairment, there's always a caregiver. And we're glad that you're here with us right now. HopeForTheCaregiver.com. You know, the life of a caregiver can be a bit frenetic. Is that a good word? Is that the word for the day? Frenetic. And we tend to look like plate spinners. You remember the old variety shows, Ed Sullivan and all the others, and they'd have these guys come on with all these really long sticks, and they'd be spinning the plates and doing all the stuff. And do we have any plate spinning music? Can we, Miss Producer, can we get some of those? Can we get some plate spinning music? Aha! There you go. Doesn't that sound like the soundtrack of our lives? Can't you just see us running back and forth to the kitchen, to the laundry room, back to the bedroom, to the hospital, to the pharmacy? That is excellent. All right, that's enough of that silliness. But that sounds like us, doesn't it? And, you know, plate spinners understand a truth that we as caregivers would do well to know. We're going to have messes. We're going to have crashes. We're going to have a lot of broken pieces scattering our stage. And we know this. And yet we push ourselves to a standard of perfection that no one comes even close to accomplishing. And yet we keep doing it. Somehow thinking that, okay, this is the one where we're going to get everything just right. But if you notice these guys, they would always have mishaps. They would drop stuff. Something would break. They'd look at the audience and shrug and just keep going on in the music because the show had to keep going on. They recognized that what they're trying to do is crazy anyway. And we're all applauding because it's remarkable to watch what they do. I still don't know how they do it. I mean, you know, they got those long, skinny sticks, and they would put these things on there on top of it. I don't know how it kept going, but they would do it, and they're smiling and laughing, having a good time. Well, maybe we could incorporate some of that. You know, they didn't get all worked up about broken pieces on the stage. Now, if they had too many of them, they wouldn't get invited back to the show, and people start booing them. But, I mean, it's just going to happen. But what do the broken pieces, those shattered objects, look like for us? Well, a fractured relationship, argument, poor health, aberrant behavior, career interruptions, a checkbook on life support. Now I've gone from preaching to meddling. And in some cases, there's actually broken dishes laying around. And it's okay for any one of those things. It's actually okay for all of those things. But when they're all happening at one time, now that can be a problem. If the whole thing goes kaplooey, you may have to stop the show. But it usually doesn't happen that way. It usually happens when we'll have a drama with one person here or something happen with our checkbook. But if our checkbook is overdrawn every single day, that problem's going to fix itself. Okay? That's not going to keep going because it's unsustainable. You're going to go bankrupt. So it doesn't do much good to berate ourselves over that. Let's fix the problem. Let's keep going. Let's get back up on the horse. And one way we can detach from just beating on ourselves for that is to remember this little axiom that I heard a long time ago. A friend gave me this, and I love this. It sums up our life as caregivers. If you don't make it worse, that counts as a win. If you don't make it worse, that counts as a win. No kidding. Now, I know that we're aiming for the gold medal of perfection. So not making it worse may seem like, you know, a distant silver or a bronze medal, but it's still a victory in the unpredictable world of caregiving. And you got to admit, our world as caregivers can be a bit unpredictable. That's a good word, unpredictable. I mean, you don't know what you're going to face from day to day sometimes. And never underestimate the the crisis du jour that can come our way unexpectedly. And keep this in mind. Caring for somebody with a chronic impairment, it ensures that a minimum of 2 flawed and stressed individuals face relentless challenges daily. Now you think about that. If you're caring for somebody, that means 2 people who are mistake-prone, flawed people, and under a great deal of stress and angst are facing relentless challenges daily. Caregiving doesn't show any mercy. It's not going to stop just because you're having a bad hair day. It's not going to stop because I get a cold. I mean, how many sick days do you get to call in as a caregiver? So this is what's going on with us. We're going to have broken plates. And it's a difficult situation that can quickly spiral out of control. But in that context, now you think about this, not making it worse is admirable. And that's worthy of putting a check mark in the win column. Say you have an argument with somebody. Say you're getting into some kind of altercation or somebody's upset about you with something you've done. And maybe they're legitimate upset. I mean, maybe you really did something that hacked them off. Been there, done that, got the T-shirt. Not making it worse. In other words, I don't have to be defensive. I can just simply try to make amends, own it, and say, you know what, I really hear that you're disappointed, or you're angry, you're frustrated, and I certainly regret that. And I'd like to make amends for that. That's not making it worse. Doesn't mean it takes away the sting of it. Yeah, it's an altercation. It's uncomfortable. But it means that we're going to start from here and go forward. I can make some positive decisions right now and go forward. But if I get all defensive, if I get argumentative, if I want to prove them wrong so that I can be right, all that kind of stuff, how does that help? All that does is prolong the craziness and make more broken pieces litter the stage. And we don't need that. We can own it quickly and seek to make amends. Or sometimes we don't have to do anything. Sometimes we could just, in our minds, put duct tape over our mouth and just not say anything. Just be quiet. I struggle with that. I mean, I host a radio program. I talk for a living. So it's hard for me to not talk. My son was telling me this. He says, you speak in sermons and paragraphs. Okay. I got to take that one on the chin. I do. I do that for a living. So yeah. Okay. So sometimes I have to work extra hard to bite my tongue and like the taste of blood. Sometimes you just don't have to say anything and just be quiet. That's not making it worse. And that counts as a win. What are some ways that you today can not make it worse? If you have a loved one that repeatedly asks you the same question, I got a friend of mine whose wife does that, just ask him over and over and over to the point where he's just about ready to lose his mind, he said. And she has dementia. But he doesn't argue with her. Don't make it worse. And that counts as a win. And there's a great quote from Dale Earnhardt that I think applies here. You win some, you lose some, and you wreck some. Isn't that a great quote? You win some, you lose some, you wreck some. And you and I have won some, we've lost some, and we've wrecked some, but we keep going. That's the journey of a caregiver. So the next time you look at your checkbook and you're thinking, you're putting your hand over your chest like Fred Sanford used to do. It's the big one, Elizabeth. Don't make it worse. Let's just slow down the spending. Let's start thinking through how to not make it worse. And then put that check mark in the win column. Okay? How about that? This is Peter Rosenberger. This is Hope for the Caregiver, hopeforthecaregiver.com.